So let's analyze the body language and statements of both Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky in that meeting that was so anticipated, especially after that train wreck at the Oval Office a few months ago. This time it was completely different, including but not limited to that Zelensky wore a jacket. That was nice. That was nice. Okay, he looked like Elizabeth Holmes, but I am not complaining. And well, I have summarized the encounter in the most important clips so we can address the most critical topics about or covered in this meeting. So let's start with the first one. It was right at the start.
To have the president of Ukraine with us. We've had a lot of good discussions, a lot of good talks, and I think progress is being made, very, very substantial progress in many ways. We had a good meeting, as you know, just a short while ago with the president of Russia, and I think there's a possibility that something could come out of it, and today's meeting is very important. We have, I guess, the seven very powerful leaders from Europe, and we're going to be meeting with them right after this meeting, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
So the first part, first thing is that I don't see any crazy faces from Zelensky. You know that I recently made a video that, well, we didn't know what happened with him, with his face. But I'm glad to say that he was really composed. He was really neutral. There was no emotional reactions. There was only this...
President of Russia. And I think there's a possibility.
Just a head movement when Trump mentioned the president of Russia, and the handshake. The handshake was really nice. It was a classical Trump handshake. You already know, palm up, and then look in their eyes. I think it was a nice handshake. And then there comes Zelensky's remarks.
If I can, first of all, thank you for invitation, and thank you very much for your efforts. Personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war. Thank you. And using this opportunity, many thanks to your wife, First Lady of the United States. She sent a letter to Putin about our children, abducted children, and my wife, First Lady of Ukraine. She gave the letter. It's not to you, to your wife.
No, I want it.
Yeah. So we are saying this sensitive topic. Yes, please. And thanks to our partners and that you supported this format, that after our meeting we can have leaders who are around us, UK and France, Germany, Italy, Finland, EU, NATO. I mean, all partners around Ukraine supporting us. Thanks to them, and thank you very much for invitation.
Thank you very much for being here.
Again, I saw a lot of goodwill on Zelensky's side. It was nice facial expressions. He was thankful many times. He said thank you many times, I guess, to not have that reaction from J.D. Vance at this time. And he mentioned the letter that Melania Trump sent to Putin in a very spontaneous way, and like okay, we can get to final peace, to actual peace in here. So I think it was a very good start to the meeting, especially in terms of the vibes that we felt from this, the genuine smiles from both of them, both from Trump and from Zelensky. That was I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit anxious. Oh my God, how is this going to start? But again, we have this moment in which Trump makes sure to save, so to speak, Zelensky with the first hard questions that were coming.
President Zelensky, you say in a post on X today, Russia must end this war, which it itself started. President Trump, you say President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to. Which is it?
Which is it? So is there a contradiction? And then who do you think is going to answer this question? What Trump answered this question?
Yeah, I think that's true.
And he says, I think that's true. Okay, that is that is not an actual answer to the question, and that is a soft deflect, as in there's a contradiction, but he doesn't care about what people share on social media. Okay, let's sit down right now. Let's have the talk, and let's arrive at an actual agreement. And you see that Zelensky has this gesture, as in, okay, what does it really matter? Who has the ultimate responsibility? I think they both have the responsibility, and that's what Trump answered.
I think we're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat, and I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
Notice that Trump, last time he used to look only at the reporters and answer only to the reporters, but in this case, Trump was making sure to look at Zelensky. I noticed that it was a bit odd this time. It is a nice oddity because it's acknowledging that Zelensky is there, and well, they are going to work together with Putin, and if everything goes well, they will have a trilateral meeting, which will ultimately lead to actual peace. So there was a nice gesture from Trump and making sure that, okay, this is a trick question. I will answer it to make sure that Zelensky doesn't say anything inappropriate, because it was a trick question, in fact. Okay, so important question coming: is this the end of American support for Ukraine?
Is this the end of the road for American support for Ukraine? Is today's meeting deal or no deal?
I can never say that.
Yeah, I can never say that. That's going to be the excuse in all cases. Maybe that's part of the discussion. But as Trump says, it's never the end of the road. We see a very small emotional reaction from Zelensky. This is going to be quite odd, strange, or not very common. He didn't have many of these gestures throughout the whole exchange. And this was one of the few that he displayed this kind of stuff. But Trump deflects the question again and answers in a bit of a, let's say, vague way. It's never the end of the road.
It's never the end of the road. People are being killed, and we want to stop that. So I would not say it's the end of the road. No, I think we have a good chance of doing it. It's been almost 4 years now that a lot of people were killed last week. A lot of people last week. I mean, millions of people killed, but a lot of people last week for whatever reason. A big number, a lot of soldiers, on both sides. And I know the president, I know myself, and I believe Vladimir Putin wants to see it ended.
Yeah, it's a few of the times that Trump is going to mention that Putin also wants it ended, and we don't see any sort of reaction from Zelensky. I think that he, in all cases, agrees that Putin also wants it ended. Well, if Putin didn't want it ended, then he wouldn't have gone to Alaska. It's that simple. It's very simple to imagine this. Now, another trick question. Who has better cards, Ukraine or Russia? You remember last time? You don't have the cards. Who has the better cards this time?
As you listen to Russia and Ukraine, which side has the better cards? Right?
Well, I don't want to say that. I'm just here to be. Look, this isn't my war. This is Joe Biden's war. He's the one that had a lot to do with this happening, and we want to get it ended.
Yes, that's simple. Again, many questions, but I think that both of them wanted to be very careful. And maybe Trump said, I'm going to make sure to answer most of these questions myself, because there are going to be a lot of trick questions, and we don't want to derail this before we even sit down for the actual meeting. And I'm going to have a separate analysis of that meeting with all the European Union leaders as well. The next question is a direct bait for Zelensky, and he answers about a diplomatic end to the war.
President Zelensky, are you prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, we live under each day attacks. That today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support American and European partners. And we will do our best for this.
Notice that Zelensky says something that was, a contentious topic last time. We need support from America as well as Europe. We see just a change, a very subtle change of a posture from Trump, but nothing out of the ordinary. So I will give it a pass. No reaction this time.
So, and I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, of personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war, and we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
So again, a great. I saw this is just this last phase is just a transition gesture. Nothing to see here. I think his words are really important. He talks about a possible trilateral meeting, a very possible trilateral meeting. It's something really good. Remember that last time he said over and over again, you cannot trust Putin. You cannot trust Putin. You cannot trust Putin. He said that many times, and that's one of the things that, okay, but then what can we do? Okay, and it was exasperating at some point. And this is a much more reasonable Zelensky this time. I mean, so far it has been a great press conference at the Oval Office. Now, there's a question about American peacekeepers that Trump, you guessed that right, he deflects it as well.
If the peace deal will be achieved, are you going to be willing to send American peacekeepers to Ukraine?
Well, we're going to work with Ukraine. We're going to work with everybody, and we're going to make sure that if there's peace, the peace is going to stay long term. This is very long term. We're not talking about a 2-year peace and then we end up in this mess again. We're going to make sure that everything's good. We'll work with Russia. We're going to work with Ukraine, and we're going to make sure it works. And I think if we can get to peace, it's going to work. I have no doubt about it.
Notice that he doesn't address directly if there are going to be American peacemakers or something. Are you going to willing to send American peacekeepers to Ukraine? No, he doesn't address that directly. He doesn't answer the question directly. It's very smart in that regard. So next question is that Trump is asked directly about security guarantees. And once again, I think that they decided, you know what, we have to be very careful about what we say in front of the press before sitting down to talk. Even if I can imagine that they already talked a lot before this Oval Office press conference. I'm pretty sure about that. I think they were really careful as to not steer the pot and not let the press steer the pot. So this question about security guarantees is deflected.
Your team has talked about security guarantees. Could that involve U.S. troops? Would you rule that out in the future?
We'll let you know that maybe later today.
We'll let you know maybe later today. He's not saying yes or no. Important.
We're meeting with 7 great leaders of great countries also.
It is not only about us. It's about these 7 other countries that want to cooperate.
And we'll be talking about that. They'll all be involved, but there'll be a lot of help. When it comes to security, there's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good. They are first line of defense because they're there. They're Europe. But we're going to help them out also.
We're going to help them also. We will be involved. He doesn't say in which way America is going to be involved, but he makes it very clear that, the European countries are there in Europe, so they should be the first line of defense. So it's a soft way of saying that no, there are not going to be American troops in there. Again, we will see what is this about. So the next question is very important because Zelensky, with his body language, acknowledges that Putin wants the war to end. And again, I remind you that last time he said many times that nobody should believe anything that Putin does or thinks or says or anything. And this was a great change.
Vladimir Putin mentioned that the war will not end without addressing the root causes of this war. Have you had an understanding what are the root causes of this war?
Well, look, the war is going to end. When it ends, I can't tell you, but the war is going to end, and this gentleman wants it to end, and Vladimir Putin wants it to end. I think the whole world is tired of it.
Notice that Vladimir Putin wants it to end, and Zelensky doesn't have any emotional reaction. He keeps a neutral face. He looks at Trump, and he nods. That is great. That is just amazing. That is okay. Keep your mouth shut, please.
This gentleman wants it to end, and Vladimir Putin wants it to end. I think the whole world is tired of it.
Okay, you might be thinking also that he could have been this double reaction that he wants to end the war, but still there would be no reaction to Putin wants to end the war. So in some way he is acknowledging that Putin does want to end the war as well.
And we're going to get it ended. It was, I've done 6 wars. I've ended 6 wars, and I thought this maybe would be the easiest one, and it's not the easiest one. It's a tough one. A lot of reasons for it.
Yes, and the next question is a bit more complicated. This is the moment of levity. It's not actually a question, but this is the moment in which they do the remarks about how Zelensky is wearing a jacket this time.
First of all, Mr. President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? That's the one that attacked you last time. See, now he's.
I remember that.
You look wonderful. No, my first question for you,
But
President
you
Zelensky.
are in the same suit. You see, I changed you.
Maybe yours is much better.
Please.
Real quickly, upon peace, God willing we get peace, are you open to holding an election in your country?
This is important. Are you open to holding an election in your country? And this is a double whammy in terms of levity, and you're going to understand in a couple seconds.
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances, and a little bit we need to work in the parliament, because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need, we need a truth, yes, everywhere, in the battlefield, in the sky, in the sea, yeah, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
Trump knows that this is a contentious topic. He doesn't want Zelensky to look bad. So when you don't want somebody to look bad, you make a joke. You say something to lighten up the air, and this is what Trump does.
So you say
ready.
during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake.
You like this idea?
No, this is
No.
Speaking of news,
So he was joking about this. The liberals completely had a complete meltdown over this. He said, "Oh, he wants to enter in a war, and he wants to become a dictator." There he is. He's showing his true colors. You know that they don't understand satire. They don't understand sarcasm. None of the sorts. This is too difficult for them. That is only for intelligent people. There was a nice moment in which, okay, I'm going to joke about this because, people say, why haven't you called elections? And to be fair, that sounds like something reasonable. If you are at war and how do you organize elections if you don't have mail-in ballots, for example, which, by the way, is one of the topics that they talk about in this discussion that I left out of the analysis because it's not about the Russia-Ukraine war specifically. So I decided to just focus the analysis on this topic. And the next question is, how much is the United States willing to give Ukraine? And to Zelensky, how much do you want? It's like a double question.
President Trump, how much more is the United States willing to give Ukraine? And President Zelensky, how much more do you want?
Well, I'll start off just by saying we're not giving anything now. We're selling weapons. This is something before, I guess the number is well over $300 billion. That was under Joe Biden, a corrupt politician, not a smart man, never was. If I were president, this war would have never taken place, and he would have been very happy because he would have liked to have seen. I mean, they went through hell. He went through hell. This war would have never happened.
Notice that Trump makes sure to, well, praise Zelensky for what he's gone through. There's something that you do to make sure that the circumstances are ideal for, well, getting to an agreement. Let's agree for whatever happens so we can set this all up for a trilateral meeting. This is all. Everything is carefully, let's say, the steps to get to a trilateral meeting. That is the single most important goal in here. And then Zelensky answers his side or his part of the question.
You want to answer?
I can. Thank you so much. So first of all, we have possibility now to buy weapon from the United States. We are thankful for this program and this opportunity. We are thankful for Europe. They pay for this.
He continues elaborating about that, and he is also thankful for the opportunity of buying these weapons and for rearming Ukraine, of course, for future security and in general. The next is not a question. They were asking about how Washington D.C. is so safe right now. They were talking about mail-in ballots. They were talking about all these other topics that had nothing to do with Zelensky or Russia or the war. And I wanted to point this out, that Trump made a very quick pause, apologizing to Zelensky that, okay, sorry to take time out of this, talking about these topics. And just notice the very, very quick gesture.
Fighting me on the fact that I've made Washington, D.C. safe. We're not going to get mugged, beaten up, or killed like all the people you've been watching get so badly hurt. I'm glad. I hate to take your time in this, but I'm glad you asked me that question. We're going to stop mail-in ballots because it's corrupt.
You notice that I hate to take your time on this, and he touches him with the tip of his fingers. This is one of the things that I always tell you. This is one of the ways that you can touch somebody, and even people who don't like to be touched, if it's a very light touch, it's just going to be a very, very soft and light connection, but a connection nonetheless. And it's a differential way from Trump to say, hey, sorry to take your time from this, but I needed to answer this question as well and talk at large and talk long and about this. This answer was interesting from Zelensky. Which guarantees do you need from Trump to make a deal?
What guarantees do you need from President Trump to be able to make a deal? Is it American troops, intelligence, equipment? What is it?
Everything.
All of it. Everything.
Strong Ukrainian army. That's what I began to discuss with your colleagues.
Notice that at no point Trump had any sort of reaction. Everything. There was no reaction from Trump. Do you see that I edited this? But this is exact same frame before and after. I just made a zoom in this because they were with this shot of the whole Oval Office with everyone in the frame. I just was zooming in. The very next frame, this and this are just one after the other. There's nothing missing. You see that there's no reaction from Trump whatsoever.
Strong Ukrainian army. That's what I began to discuss with your colleagues. And it's a lot about weapon and then people and training missions and intelligence. And second, we will discuss with our partners. It depends on the big countries, on the United States, on a lot of our friends.
Yeah, it depends not only on the United States, but on the friends, the other 7 countries that are right there. We're waiting on the outside. And the last question, real opportunity of that trilateral meeting. I think this is what seals the deal. Will we have a trilateral meeting finally?
I was just telling the president, I just spoke to President Putin indirectly, and we're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today. And we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues. And if we do, we have a good chance. I think if we have a trilat, there's a good chance of maybe ending it. But he's expecting my call when we're finished with this meeting.
So yes, Trump makes it clear that after the meeting with Zelensky and with the meeting with the 7 leaders of the European Union, he's going to call Putin directly, and we don't see any sort of reaction from Zelensky. He's behaving the same way as always. No crazy faces, no interruptions, no nothing. That he like yes, in my opinion, this is the real deal. We are at the gates of finally having a complete peace between Russia, everlasting peace between Russia and Ukraine. I want to say something about Donald Trump in this regard. Some people say, why is he so invested? Why is this not our war? We have nothing to do with this. Why are we involved in this? Why is Trump investing time and resources on this? And I'm telling you why, or my theory of what is this about. I think that Trump is a deal maker. He's a businessman, first and foremost. This is the most important thing. And he knows that there can be no business between countries or continents or regions of the world if there are conflicts. And it would be much better for any country, for everyone, for the United States, for Russia, for Ukraine, for the European Union, for everyone, if there were no conflicts. Because in that regard, if that was so, then you could have, make business with everyone. And I think that's one of the reasons. He wants peace to be able to do business with all the world. And it makes sense. It would make sense. Let's fix all the things that are happening. Let's fix all these wars that are happening over the world, so we can access all these markets, and America can benefit from these markets with tariffs, without tariffs. But I think that is Donald Trump's strategy. You might say that, and so it's all about business. Yeah, but why not? It is working. And if it works for Russia and Ukraine, that is great. But again, I would like to know what do you think about this in the comments. I'm going to do some commentary about this on my Power Pundit channel. Remember, that is my channel dedicated specifically for political commentary. And if I have time today, I'm going to do an analysis of the meeting of all of them, of all the European leaders with Trump, right in this channel. So make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Battle Language Guy. Much love and bliss.